What's up, y'all? Back again today with a very important video, a very special video today. A very special video, a very revealing video, and I would say it's going to be a controversial video. Now, I want to get straight into it, but before I get into what I have to say, I want to make a couple disclaimers. I want to just let a few things be known. As usual, I want to let you know I'm here for progression, I'm here for information, and I'm here for sharing, I'm here for knowledge and equality across the board. With that being said, sometimes we have to bring up information that may make people uncomfortable in order to proceed or progress, in order to bring forth equality. So that's probably what a few people will feel uncomfortable today, but just know that I'm bringing this forth for understanding across the board. I'm not here to claim anything. I'm here to simply ask questions and give my point of view, my perception. That's what the name of today's video is, perception, okay? Perception is really big. If you don't know what perception is, it's the way you perceive things. It has the same root word as perception and perceive. It's basically your point of view. It's the manner in which you view the world or certain subjects. So this is your perception. This is going to be the topic of today. But I have to preface this with a few things that I wanted to say. So first of all, I just want to let you know about me. If you don't know about me, I am someone who loves life. I'm a person who loves people, and I love talking, as you can see. So a couple things got me to make a YouTube channel. I'll tell you about that one day, but one day I was just kind of fed up with things I was seeing, or I was unsatisfied with the reality that I was viewing, and so I decided, hey, I have a valid opinion, and everybody's giving their opinion nowadays. I might as well, instead of doing a meme or a tweet, I might as well put my voice out there and put some substantiated evidence behind it. So that's what I'm doing. I'm not a teacher. I'm not a leader. But what I am is someone who gives out information and who comes from an honest standpoint and has a multitude of experience from different aspects, from what many would call the hood or an impoverished neighborhood to the suburbs. So, from Hispanic background to black background. I have a lot of Caucasian friends. I have a lot of Indian friends. So this is what I wanted to preface it by. I'm an all-around people person, okay? With that being said, before I go into this, two more things I wanted to say. One, since I am a student and I give out information, we can look at this as a classroom, all of us being students. There are some subjects, though, that many people feel strongly about and that we need to discuss, but I've noticed that at work it's very shunned to speak about politics, church, your personal life at work. We don't do that at work, but we're at work for 8 to 12 hours a day. At church, we don't really speak about politics, but we're there all Sunday. In politics, we don't speak about church or work. So there's never a place in which we can speak about all topics comfortably and bring out the issues and discuss them as logical, responsible adults. The only place that we have this freedom of speech that we so-called love so much is in our living rooms amongst our immediate family, where we may bicker and amongst each other, but we give our honest opinion in our living room. So this YouTube page is what I decided to make to bring the living room, or my living room, to the world so that we could discuss it, because I'm not a bigot, I'm not a racist, anything of that nature. So I want to give my opinion. So that's why at the end of every video, I hashtag let's discuss, because I like discussing. I like discussing it with you. I love when you comment with me or on my comment and I could have a dialogue with you. I had someone from New Zealand actually tell me that they love my videos and told me to make more. I had someone from Poland tell me that they agreed with a lot of the things I was saying. So this is really special to me, and I just wanted to preface it by saying that. Now, moving forward, again, the topic of the video is perception. Right before I get into this, I want to say one more thing. If you've ever seen the movie The Matrix, I don't know if you have or you haven't, but a lot of people have. And a lot of people refer to our actual reality as a matrix or the matrix, or think that the movie was actually based somehow off reality. I can understand that concept. I'm not here to talk about that, but if we were to entertain the idea that we are living in a matrix, what happens when you unplug? What happens when you unplug others? Well, in the movie, it was said to Neo, the main character, that if you would like to unplug these people from the matrix, you have to understand. And when I say unplug them from the matrix, I mean bring them into the real reality, not a manufactured reality. Because in the matrix, they were living in a manufactured reality that was not of their own creation. The main character, Neo, wanted to break out of that reality and live his own life. So you have to understand that in the movie, what was told to this main character who wanted to break out was, if you want to break out others, the way that you've been unplugged, you have to understand that a large number of people are not going to want to be unplugged, are not going to be ready to be unplugged, and are not going to be comfortable or able to be unplugged because they've lived their whole life being plugged up into this artificial world. So now what does that mean? That means you and I, my friend, have the obligation to break out of this matrix. And if in any time you see the matrix glitching, that's a good thing. Why do I say that? At work today, I was speaking to them about what I'm going to speak to you today about. And they got really uncomfortable. Really uncomfortable to where I viewed it as the matrix glitching, because the reality, that the conformity that they had been used to, it begins to be challenged when you bring in forth knowledge. Righteous knowledge, it begins to disseminate all lies and all deceit, and they get uncomfortable because this is the life that they've been plugged into for so long. So moving forward, what did I want to talk about? I want to talk about Jesus. Yes, Jesus. Now please don't turn it off. You've already got so far. Please don't turn it off. I want to talk about Jesus. Yes, just that. The image of Jesus. Why? Well, I'll get to that. But first, if you're going to listen, I will give all my energy, but I want you to tell me one thing. Right now, you have to promise me that you're going to give your unadulterated, full, unfiltered, potent opinion. Your first opinion. You can't think about it. Just say what you mean. Say how you feel. Please be honest with me, or be honest with yourself. We're in the living room right now. This isn't the politics. This isn't the Catholic Church. This isn't anything else. This is the living room. So be honest with me. So the first thing I wanted to show you is, I was in the bookstore with my son. Moving forward, I was in the bookstore with my son. We were getting some books. And moving out, I saw an interesting thing, an action figure. I saw an action figure of Jesus. Believe it or not, I've never seen this in my whole life, an action figure of the Jesus Christ. Don't believe me? Well, guess what? I have physical evidence, and I have props. I have dialogue right here. So this is what I wanted to show you. This is what I saw. I took a picture of it. This is what I saw. Okay? So this is what I saw in the store. It says, bendable, posable, Jesus of Nazareth. Okay? So, mind you, this is my hand holding it, you can see. So I'm holding this character. And a number of things are running through my head, but I just simplify it, and I asked my son, my 5-year-old son. Now, I've taught him about God, but I haven't gone into the depth of God as I go into depth with you. I asked my son, who is this, son? And he said, God. He pointed to this and said, God. Now, mind you, he was on the right track, obviously. And most people would say that. And obviously I wasn't mad at him for it, and I didn't correct him for it, and I took the time to talk to him. But what I wanted to talk to you about is I wanted to ask you the same question. Who is this? You might say it's Jesus of Nazareth. That's fine. And many may say it's God. That's fine. But now, I also want to ask you another question, okay? Who is this? Who is this? Who is this? I want to know who this person is. I want to know. As a sane and logical and responsible adult, I would like to know who this image is. Okay? Now, listen to me before you make judgment. I'm not here to claim anything, first of all. I'm here to pose a question. Who are these people? Furthermore, are these the same people? Now, I would love to be able to have you here to answer with me, but I have to give hypothetical dialogue just because you're not here. So let's just say they are the same person. These are the same people. Okay? Why are they not depicted the same? The same race, meaning. And if you say race doesn't matter, I know many will right off the back say, I know where you're going with this and race doesn't matter. We can get to that. But first, if you do say race doesn't matter, please understand that any job application, school scholarship, or anything of that nature, you will have to fill out your race. Okay? Even in the medical field, even if you go to the hospital, you will have to fill out a slip that tells you, says what race you are. So there are categorizations of race. We know this. My question is, why are the same person depicted differently? Furthermore, I have a few other questions, okay? Bear with me. It's accepted and it's normal and it's common for this man to be seen and called Jesus Christ. I'm not here to really talk about his name. I'm talking about the image. If you don't know what I'm speaking of, you can go to the majority of chapels in America. You can look at candles. You can look at Bibles. You can look at cathedrals, paintings, medieval paintings. You can look at stained glasses. And you're going to see the same image. You're going to see a seemingly Caucasian man, and he's going to be depicted many times with blue eyes and even blonde hair. Okay? I'd say 5% of America as a whole, in the general population, 5 to 10%, actually uses this image to depict Jesus. Now, again, I ask you, why is this? Okay? My personal feelings, I'll wait for later. I'm just asking questions right now. So now, we've decided that these are the same people. And we've decided that one is used more than the other. And we're also asking, why is this? And we're also asking, why are they depicted differently? And why is one more commonly depicted than the other? Now, here's my real question, and this is where it gets tricky, and this is where I need you to be very honest with me and very blunt, because we are in the living room. If a Caucasian American, if an Asian American, if a Latino American, or Arabian American, or if any race other than black were to see this in the store, okay? Now, to bring it in context, remember I saw this in the store being sold, and my child looked at it and pointed and said, God, my child is black. He pointed to this man who's seemingly Caucasian and said he's God. My question to you is, would you be comfortable? Would a Caucasian man be comfortable letting his child be in the store and see an action figure that looked exactly like this with the same tone of color of skin and allow his Caucasian 5-year-old son to say, that's God, Daddy, that is God? If the man's hair was in dreadlocks like mine, or if it was an afro, and he was a black man preaching to a black congregation, what would and a child said God, would he allow it? If you're an Asian person watching this right now, would you allow your child to call another race God, or to call a black man God? And if you say you do, honestly and truly, I commend you. Not because one is better than the other, but first of all, we have to talk about perception inequality. But before we do that, we have to talk about the historical, scriptural, and biblical evidence that spoke of Jesus's physical characteristics. So I'm not a Bible-toting person, but I do refer to scripture in certain times when it's contextually appropriate. So when we go to the Bible, it tells us, now mind you, this is not verbatim because I don't have the Bible on me, but you can do your own research and find that it tells you that Jesus's hair was that of lamb's wool. So it was similar to lamb's wool. Now, what is a lamb? The same as a sheep. If you've ever seen a sheep's wool and lamb's wool, very similar to cotton, very dense, very kinky, very similar to what many would call an afro. That's what Jesus' hair is described in your Bible as. His feet, meaning his skin, because your feet are the same color as your hands or the same color as your face. His feet were the color of bronze, right? So when you see bronze, if you have a bronze medal at the Olympics, what color is it? You know, if you have bronze, it's going to be a brownish tone. This man here is not brown though. And especially the images on the cathedral, he's nowhere near that. He's nowhere near bronze, neither is his hair like lamb's wool. So again, let's take it back. And now that we understand the historical fact that this is more accurate, why then might it be uncomfortable for some people? Because even if it's not uncomfortable for you, the next question that you have to honestly answer is, would it be comfortable for your neighbor or for the general population of America to all of a sudden see this man as God, to let their children call this man God? Similarly, what if, hypothetically speaking, of course, every painting you've ever seen of Jesus, every Bible, every stained glass, every cathedral, including the Vatican, replace the image that's currently of Jesus and place this here? What do you think the general consensus of Americans that do not look like this, what do you think their consensus would be? Now backtrack again, because there's many questions I have to ask in this short period of time, and I hope someone can answer them all. I went around work, and many people got uncomfortable when I started posing these questions to them. So moving forward, again, this is historically accurate. What would be the general consensus of America if we change the image to this? Now, not only if we change the image to this, my question would be, if the response would be welcoming, then I applaud you. If you think that the response would be chaotic, you're probably right. But my next question is, why would it be chaotic? We have to constantly ask questions to the why. If we ask enough whys, we get to the core denominator. Why would it be chaotic if this man were now in toy stores and we call this man God, and white children and black children alike had to call this man God? Why would it be a problem? You can answer that. Again, I haven't given my opinion, and I might not even give my opinion. I will pose it and leave it open-ended. But I do have to say a few more things. So now, let's look at this picture here. This man is seemingly a black man talking to a seemingly all-black crowd. They all do have round hair that grows naturally for black people, and they are very, very, very brown. So we can assume that they're black. Let's just hypothetically say these guys are black. Does this picture bother you? Would this picture bother most people? Why? I could assume, now I have to assume now because again we're having a dialogue. I could assume that this would bother people because one, they would say this is inaccurate, which would be wrong. This is not inaccurate. So if you say this is inaccurate, I'm sorry, but you're wrong. This is accurate. They would say this is inaccurate, but if we're not even talking about the person, we have to look at the people. They're going to say that it's too many black people. It's only black people there. Where's the diversity? Again, we're talking about perspective here. Most people who aren't black are going to see this and say, there's too many black people, there's no diversity. But if the picture, now mind you, I don't have a picture to show hypotheticals, but if hypothetically this were an all-white crowd, would it be the same uproar? Would the same questions be asked? Now we have to break free from this matrix, so we have to answer these questions realistically. If this was an all-white crowd, would there be an issue at all? And hasn't there been many pictures just like this with an all-white crowd? Because it has to be one or the other. Here's my question. If this was a white man and all white people, that'd be okay. When it's a black man and it's all black people, it's not okay. But now let's do something fun, okay? An experiment, if you will, to see how the mind really works. What if this man was white and these people were all black? That's exactly what's happening today. What if this man was white and there's only one black person there? You're going to say, why is there only one black person there? What is he up to? What is he doing? Okay, now what if this is a black person talking to all white people? Because now, mind you, when it's a Caucasian person speaking to all black people, that is exactly what's happening today. We are looking at and praising a person who looks nothing like us. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but this is what happens. So, but if this black man was speaking to a group of white people and that was on the Vatican, that would cause, they'd want to burn the Vatican down. That's the truth. Okay? And I know you know that's the truth. So now we have to ask these questions. Why is this image so threatening? Or so controversial, should I say? Furthermore, let me say one thing. Every single race that you could think of on this planet, because again, there are races. If you don't believe me, ask your government. Go try to get a job without filling out your race. You can put other, but they will give you the form to signify what race you are. So there are different races. We can distinguish that. Now we have to ask a question here. Who on earth prays to a person that doesn't look like them? That's the question I pose. Now here's my evidence. Every single person on earth has a God that looks like them. If you don't believe me, I'll give you examples. Obviously, the image of Jesus looks like a Caucasian man. So a Caucasian man could look at this image that's plastered all over America and most of the world, and he can identify with that. He can aspire for a level of success. He can aspire to reach a pinnacle of human nature, right? Similarly, the Hindu man, or the Indian man, he can look at Krishna and different gods that Krishna, this is a god to them, to the Indians. So they can look at this person who looks like them. When it's depicted everywhere, it looks like them, the same facial features, and it has the same type of name as them. So they could identify with this being that they call God that looks like them, so psychologically they can reach for a level of success. Do you see where I'm going here? Hispanic people, Latino people, Mexican people, not that they're all the same, I'm not saying that they're all the same, but Mexican people and the Aztecs, the ancient Mayans, from which their descendants came, worship bird gods and things like Quetzalcoatl. Now, forgive me if I'm saying that name incorrectly, but you can research Quetzalcoatl, and it's not spelled like it's said. It's spelled with a Q, and it ends with an L. This is one of their gods, the Aztec gods, the Mayan gods that they pray to that look like them. So again, the Latino man could then see a person ingrained in stone that reached a level of success that's never been brought down. Then he can reach for that. Even if he doesn't reach it, he can aspire for it. So now we have the white or Caucasian man who has someone who looks like him that he could aspire for success. We have the Hindu or Indian man who can aspire for success because he sees an image that looks like him and has the same type of name as him. We have the Latino man who can reach for a level of success, a pinnacle of success, because his perception can see that there is a person who looks like him. Quetzalcoatl. Now moving forward, who else do we have? We have the Asian people, the Asian descent, Oriental. The Asian people have, who do you have? Guess what? Buddha. We all know it. You could even go to Pier 1 Imports and pick up a nice Buddha statue for your house if you're not even Asian, or if you don't follow Buddha. You have a nice Buddha statue and he has the characteristics that Asian people are associated with. Again, the Asian man could look at a person who reached godhood in the physical flesh and it looks like him and has the same type of name in it as him and has the same physical characteristics as him. Now, we've gone all down the line of the rainbow of the type of people there are as far as race is concerned. And if I've missed out any gods, I know there are more, forgive me. But the point I'm making is the black man, the man who looks like me, he has no perception of a man who has reached the pinnacle of success considered to be associated with godhood. Do you understand? So now he cannot maneuver in any arena and expect to reach godhood. Similarly, no one is going to look at this man and assume that he can reach godhood because they've had no prior evidence. They've had no physical evidence of it. So if you have no physical evidence of something, why would you believe it's real? Now, mind you, this is why I spend my time showing you how God makes himself evident. So this is why I believe in God. It's not a theory. He makes himself evident here in this nature. But why believe in something that's not real? So furthermore, I hope you can see why I'm going with this. The fact that one is acceptable and there's no questions. The other one would cause an uproar for a number of reasons. And if you say it wouldn't, I'm sorry, but you're misinformed. It would cause an uproar if this man was called God. Furthermore, I do want to let you know a couple things. The conqueror writes history. And I've heard this before, but I didn't understand it until most recently. In war, the conqueror, the one who is the victor, is the one who writes the history book. Because an oppressed people or an enslaved people or a defeated people will not have the tools to write a book, nor the knowledge, nor the power to have it publicized or distributed. So this is what we see. A defeated people who, although may be chosen, who although may be original, who although may be just as powerful, who although may be natural, have no land of their own, have no name of their own, have no language of their own. I'm talking post-slavery blacks. This is why our perception will not allow us to succeed on a grand scale. This is why you see one person who tries to reach godhood, and not only does everyone tear him down, but his own brothers and sisters tear him down because they don't understand the level of success that is associated with godhood because they've never seen it. Why? Because the conqueror has written the history books. And that leads me to why the image that we see here is most prevalent. The Caucasian man, not all of them, but should I say the man under the guise of white supremacy, because we've understood that white means reflection. So the man who is the supreme reflector, the evil white supremacist, has then changed the history books and made it so psychologically embedded in us that we feel uncomfortable speaking the truth. We feel uncomfortable speaking historical fact. And it seems ludicrous to bring historical fact up, but it's normal to worship this. Furthermore, I want to say one more thing. On your free time, research Caesar Borgia. Caesar Borgia. This is assumed to be, rumored to be, and alleged to be the person which the present day image of Jesus is portrayed after. Now, I'm not going to go into the history of that, but just know that Leonardo da Vinci is involved in the illustration, and Caesar Borgia, who was a conqueror, it's supposed, he looks, let's just say, if you put the image of present day Jesus that's associated with the Catholic Church, and you put that next to Caesar Borgia, you would say that they're identical twins, or or at least closely related. So with that being said, I didn't want to take too much time. I love you all. I hope that you listen to me and play this back a few times. Answer each question. Write each question down and read it back to yourself, and then answer it me in the comment section, okay? I love you guys. Please vibrate higher.